start recording. The material is in English, but you can ask questions and talk in Spanish. It's okay with me, okay? The main thing is that we learn the concepts on the TKT, yeah? Is that okay? Materials in English. I'm going to give it in English, but you can ask questions in Spanish or discuss in Spanish, all right? Because some of the concepts are a bit difficult. Yeah? So it's module 1, okay? And we're going to look at the following topics today: the motivation, differences between the first language and the second language learning. We'll learn about language skills, one of the key concepts today. We're going to compare receptive skills versus productive skills. We'll have a quiz on the key concepts regarding systems and skills. And then we'll look at part 2, which is the background to language learning and teaching. Sorry, I've got a dog barking down here. There's nothing I can do about it. Presentation techniques, we'll look at exposure and focus and form. Then we'll explore types of activities and tasks for language and skills development. And then we'll have assessment types. If we have time, we may not cover all of this today. It's possible. And I think we should have some breaks, all right? I don't want to wear you out with too much activity. So 4 till 5:30 is the second one. Then we'll have a break after 90 minutes, 15 minutes. We'll then go to session 2, another 90 minutes, another 15 minutes break, and 90 minutes at the end. Okay, so I want to maximize our concentration. So that's why we're having regular breaks. Does that make sense? Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, Hernan, I do not understand English. Well, sorry if you don't understand English. I'm afraid there's not much we can do about that. I'm not expecting you to speak English, but if you can't understand a bit of English, you shouldn't really be on this course. All right. So you need to be able to read and you need to be able to listen in English, right? You don't necessarily need to be able to speak. Yeah, you can ask questions in Spanish. That's no problem, right? Sin problema podemos hablar en español y contestar en español, all right? All right, so what I need you to do is make sure that you have signed on. The most important first thing is to contestar el correo que recibiste, entrar el correo que recibiste en la mañana a las 8:23 a tu correo, ¿ok? Para entrar a esta plataforma. ¿Ya? ¿Ya? Okay. Someone's saying me piden ID. Okay, the ID code is this. Okay, you've got to make up tú tienes que inventar tu propia contraseña. All right, but este es el código. All right, Alicia.
Yes, I have a question. Do we want to complete activities in the platform?
Well, yes, the idea is that afuera de este espacio van a hacer estas actividades.
No, I mean today in this session.
No. Only the activities we're doing together. I've got special activities today. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes.
Estas actividades son para cuando no estemos aquí. All right, when we're not here. All right, so I can see who has entered and signed up. All right, so far we have Christian, Hernan, Alicia, Majo, Neri, Paulina,
Present.
Maria Gabriela, and Blanca. Ya están adentro de la plataforma. Okay, so please sign up as soon as you can. No vamos a trabajar en la plataforma el día de hoy. Okay, es para mañana. ¿Entienden? Is that clear?
Okay, okay.
Yeah?
Yes, that's
All
clear.
right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll put the code on the whiteboard again. So with that code, you should be able to set up your account. All right. We're going to start with a quiz. Do you know how to use Kahoot? Okay, we're gonna start with a Kahoot quiz. Okay. Just to ask you questions about TKT. Right. So see how much you already know about TKT. Please join this code. All right. Give you 15 seconds to join. It's quite short. There are just 9 questions. All right, let's begin. So, TKT demands prior teaching experience in order to sit for the modules. True or false? The answer is false. You don't need prior experience, but it helps. Yeah, I think most of you have experience, right? So that's good. Majo's in the lead. True or false? TKT encompasses aspects related to primary, secondary, and adult students. Is that true or false? Ah. Oh. So, what's the answer? The answer is true, yes. So, whatever type of teaching you do is fine for the TKT. Don't worry. Right, let's continue. True or false? You can have TKT modules 1, 2, and 3 on a computer-based version? And the answer apparently is false. Yeah, it's only paper. Next. What is TKT module about? Ah, I know this one. Yes, it's language and background to language learning and teaching. Marco's in the lead. Next. What is TKT module 2 about? Very good. It's lesson planning and use of resources for language teaching. Marco's doing very well. What is TKT module 3 about? Yes, it's all about the actual teaching and learning process, how to administrate it. Next. How many multiple choice questions are there in each test? Remember, there are 3 tests, 1, 2, and 3. And the answer is yes, 80. 80. There is a TKT glossary devised by Cambridge to help candidates get acquainted with its terminology. Is that true or false? Indeed, there is. Yes. And here it is. I'm going to post it in the chat now because you're going to need it all through today's session. So it's a good idea to download this, please, to your computer, right? Lusa is way in the lead. True or false? Each module must be finished within a 90-minute time limit when you're doing the exam. The answer is false. It's an 80-minute time limit. Yes. Okay, who's the winner then? Wow. Paulina's third, Lusa is second, and it's Majo. Well done, Majo. And David, Alicia. Well, that was pretty easy, wasn't it? We're going to have a more challenging Kahoot later when we do a quiz about language and skills, language systems and language skills. So let's get back to our menu. And the first thing we're going to look at today is motivation. Let me get the handout for you. Here we go. Yeah, I'm going to put you into small groups. Excuse me. Need to share something.
Victoria.
Okay. Huh. That's funny. So I'm just looking for a function to share with you a document. I'm not sure if I've got this. So it's in chat. Okay, so I've got this handout, but I don't know, maybe I'll have to send it to you by email. Because it's not letting me send it to you. Okay, I'm going to have to send it by email. This document, this first handout. So, everyone. Sorry about this. I wonder why that is. Okay, please look in your email for the first handout for today, which is on motivation. I'm going to send you actually both handouts. Just send it to you now in the email. Okay, so the first one is this one. Looks like this. Okay, I'd like you to work in small groups, and I want you to put these teacher characteristics in order of how important you think these characteristics are to be an effective teacher. All right. So I'm going to put this into chat as well. Okay, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to discuss in the group what do you think is the right order in terms of importance. So number 1 is most important. And number 6, least important. To be an effective teacher. Okay, so you into breakout rooms. Do it automatically. Okay, 3 minutes, 4 minutes to discuss, okay? Clear? Any doubts? Dudas?
No, it's everything okay.
Okay, let's begin. Okay, please go to your breakout rooms.
Denme chance. De aquí al viernes yo hago la manera cómo se lo voy a plantear.
Speak.
León,
Tres.
esperemos ahorita que se unan consigos algo. Primero, que tenga
All right, so some interesting comments. It was only a very short activity just to get us warmed up. So one group I heard said that knowing English grammar well was most important. I think that was well, whose group was that? I think that was Pablo's group. Why is that important? You can use Spanish if you think. El grupo de Pablo y Paulina y Gabby y Alejandra. Why is knowing grammar English well important?
Yo creo que
Patito.
es importante. ¿Sí se puede decir en español?
Sí, adelante.
Eh, pues porque luego tenemos la costumbre de, pues sí, precisamente del español, que tenemos un orden muy diferente y cuando quieren aprender los estudiantes, bueno, me ha tocado que les cuesta muchísimo trabajo comprender esa parte de qué va primero, qué va después y por qué las palabras están como en desorden. Entonces creo que sería un poco más de claridad al momento de enseñar el inglés, tanto a nosotros como para ellos, para no confundirlos más.
Okay, that's an interesting point of view, isn't it? Now, does anyone else have a different point of view that knowing English grammar well is not the most important? Something else is more important. Anybody?
We said that the teacher, it was more important for the teacher to speak a foreign language. We didn't mean like the accent perfectly, but that he or she knew the language well.
It's interesting, yeah. Anyone else with a different point of view?
We agreed that the most important thing was to know the students well,
Why?
to know their interests, their background, their motivation to learn a language.
Yeah, that's a very important point, and that leads us to precisely our next points. Unless, yeah, I agree too, says Claret. Thank you, Claret. All right, so why is this an important characteristic? Teacher knows her students well. And why is it important to know these things? Anybody? You just said.
I think.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think that it's important for a teacher to know their his students because you know their needs. I mean, if you know their needs, you are capable of planning a lesson that is going to be like successful. Because if you don't know their needs, I mean, you can plan whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I mean, maybe you won't get the results that you expect.
Yeah, great point. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we could say it's important. It's an important characteristic because the teacher knows the student's needs, their reasons for learning English, likes and dislikes. Why is it important? Well, we have to keep the students engaged, right, don't we? To maintain their learner motivation, which is probably even more important than knowing English grammar. Being able to maintain their interest, because it takes a long time to learn a language, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm going to ask you to go back into your groups and answer these two these questions. Okay, I'm going to put the questions into the chat. So the questions are, could you copy the questions? You can copy and paste them. But the questions are, why are some students motivated and others not? Why do some students come to class? Keep coming to class? And list at least 5 tips. What are tips? Well, they're ideas for ways in which teachers can maintain motivation in students. ¿Cómo mantenemos la motivación con los alumnos? Think about your own alumnos, right? Your own students. All right. So I'm going to give you a longer time, maybe about 6 minutes on this one. And at the end, we're going to compare your tips with the ideas from the official materials. So vamos a entrar nuevamente in breakout rooms, but this time a bit longer. Dudas antes de entrar. ¿Estamos bien? Right.
All good.
Okay, let's enter.
Todo esto vendrá en el módulo, ¿verdad?
Okay, well, I had some good ideas, but I think some of you are a bit timidos. I think you are worried that your level of English is not very good, but don't worry about the level of English. We're not really interested in the level of your level of English. What we want to hear is your ideas, whether they're expressed in Spanish or in English, okay? So I heard some good ideas from Maria Jose's group. So Majo, can you tell us a little bit about what you thought were why are some students motivated, others not? Why do some students come to class and keep coming to class? Okay, could your group answer those two questions?
Sure. We agreed on the fact that we said that it all depends on students' interest learning the language and also the usage that they have on their daily lives. And for number two, why do they keep coming to class? We said that because they like how the class is taught and also because they feel comfortable with the atmosphere in the classroom. And finally, the tips that we have to maintain motivation, we said that dynamics and games, because that can make students participate, as well as maybe playing some music for them during class. And why not finally we think that it is very important that we get to know our students. So maybe have small talks with them, getting to know them, making them feel that they are important for the class too. So that's what we have.
Excellent. Really good ideas. Thank you. So that was Majo's group. What about the group of Alejandra, Gabby, Pablo, and Paulina? Did you have anything to say about these three? So that's Alejandra Bribiesca, Gabby, Pablo Terán, and Paulina Ramirez. No sé si ustedes tienen algo para agregar. ¿En español está bien? Otro grupo. Alejandra Hernández, Jenny. Okay, Claret, adelante.
Sí, bueno, mis compañeros y yo estábamos diciendo que algo importante podría ser atender, bueno, para el Why are some students motivated and others not? Podría ser que los docentes no atendemos los learning channels, los canales de aprendizaje. Únicamente nos concentramos como en la gente que es visual o es kinestésica, pero no los atendemos todos. También hablamos acerca de los intereses y del contexto del alumno. Muchas veces nuestros estudiantes tienen contextos muy diferentes que también pueden impactar. El why do students come to class and keep coming to class podría ser igual, que muchas veces el docente no tiene como estrategias innovadoras y no es tanto que no domina la lengua, sino que no tiene nuevas estrategias para enseñarla de una forma más interesante. Y por último, list and list 5 types for ways, pusimos innovar clases, que la actitud del maestro sea un poco diferente también, que tenga la disposición de enseñar la lengua de una forma más creativa e innovadora. Gracias.
Excelentes contestaciones, Claret. ¿Cuál es tu nombre completo, Claret?
Claret Elena López Cerrato.
Okay, gracias. Yeah, it was interesting that you mentioned preferencias de aprendizaje or learning preferences or learning styles. In today's live session, we don't have time to go into the different learning styles, but if you look on the plataforma, right, there's a section on learning styles so that you will get to consider visual, auditory, kinesthetic, so on. Yeah? Great. Really good contributions there. Right. Next, I'd like you to have a look at the participants handout 2. And on our handout 2, you can see that there are some ideas. Just see if your ideas were included in this list of tips. So, number 1, give students something to work towards. Have goals for yourself as a teacher and encourage students to have goals of their own. Goals are like objectives, aren't they? Objetivos. Be enthusiastic in your lessons and enthusiastic about the material you are using. You've got to sell it to the students. Make sure your material is well presented and attractive for learners. Give clear instructions for tasks so that students can achieve your aims. Provide a good variety of activities in your lessons. Provide a variety of interaction patterns in your lessons. So, not just teacher to all the students, but pair work, students working with a partner, students working in groups. Those are interaction patterns. Find out about your students' interests so that you can provide materials on topics that the students are interested in. Encourage students to relax in lessons. Help them to talk to each other and help each other. This is what we call reducing the, have you heard of affective filter? It's when students are stressed out, they don't learn very well, right? So reduce the affective filter. It's called. Praise all students when they've done something well, especially the weaker ones, to build self-confidence. And encourage students to continue studying outside the classroom. All right, so now, does that make sense? Any comments? No? Do you think they're good ideas?
Yes, there are.
And I think most of you included at least some of them, right? Now, here are some practical ways we can put these into action. So let's ask, I don't know, Majo, could you read number 1 for us, please?
Of course. It says, demonstrate tasks so that students know what to do. Check understanding of instructions.
Right. Blanca, could you read number 2 for us, please?
Yes. If students arrive early for class, encourage them to chat among themselves.
Yeah, yeah, it should be amongst. Luce, how about number 3?
Yes, try to do different activities in a lesson, speaking and reading. Okay, speaking and reading rather than just reading.
Yeah, so that you have a receptive skill, which is reading, and a productive skill that is speaking. Yeah? That's a good idea. Gabby, number 4, please. Okay, Yannick. Number 4. Paulina, number 5, please.
Number 5, right?
Yeah.
Set up a research project. Get learners to look things up on the internet.
Right. Laura, number 6, please.
Provide a questionnaire with topics so that the students can choose with which ones they like best.
Yeah, that's like a questionnaire, right? So, Pablo, number 7.
When monitoring a speaking or reading task, select some examples of good English to put on the board at the end of everyone to share.
Right. Mabel, number 8.
Use pictures or handouts and vary the font size, layout, etc.
Ah. Ale, number 9.
Do pair work and group work and
No,
change
no,
students.
number 9,
No.
I think. Number
Yeah.
9.
Okay. Tell students what you intend to the activity achieve by the end of the course and think of what they want to achieve.
Fantastic. And finally, it's achieve, yeah? Achieve is like lograr. And number 9, number 10 is Jose, please. If you'd be so kind. Number 10. Anyone will help us with number 10?
I can read it.
Go on, please.
Do pair work and group work and change students around so that they can work with different people.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to put you back in the breakout rooms. So you've got to then match each of the examples with the top tips. So, for example, interaction patterns. All right. So, which one is matches with number 6?
Number 10.
Yes, that's right. So you could put them in the same color, can't you? Yeah. So those match together. So it won't take you very long. I reckon about 4 or 5 minutes. So putting you back into the breakout rooms. Let's see. I'm going to recreate the breakout rooms. Put us all in pairs. Okay. Maybe trios, maybe a 3 would be a good idea. So, oh. All right, let's spend about 5 minutes on that. Matching won't take very long. Anik, please join. Acha. So we've got at least two people in each group. All right, let's just check the answers to this so we can move on. So, here we have. So, which matches with the first one, exercise 1? Give students something to work towards.
We said number 9.
Number 9. Thank you, Clarette. Let's give that a different color. Number 9. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? I think you're right there. Yeah. Good. And what about that's right. And what about number 2? Be enthusiastic about in lessons.
Number 3.
Ah,
With number 4.
yes. Yeah. A warmer to get them sort of motivated. Yeah. So that would be number 4. Correct. Yeah. How about number 3? Make sure your material is well presented.
With number 8.
Yeah. That's right. Change the color there. Green. Yeah. So that's 8. 4. Give clear instructions.
With number 1, demonstrate task.
Yes. Very good. Demonstrating is a good way of giving instructions. Uses less complicated language. Provide a good variety of activities.
We said
With
number
number 3.
Number 3. Yes.
Yeah. I agree. 3. We've got number 6. Find out about your students' interests.
With number 7.
Sure about that one. Let me just check. What is the answer?
we
Find
said
out number 7. F.
It's number
Question
6, maybe?
6 is correct. According to the answers, yes. Encourage students to relax.
maybe number 2.
Could it be number 2? Find them, get them to relax. That's a look. 8B. Yeah. Yeah, if they get early, well, let them chat for a while. That'll help them to relax, won't it? Praise all students when they've done something well. So that must be G. That would be
Number 7.
yeah. Top notch. Good. And 10 must be research project. Yeah. Do a research project so that it can do something outside the classroom. That's right. Great. Very good job. Right. So motivation is probably the most a key factor, isn't it, for everyone? Now in this TKT session, I'm just going to give you like a taster, like a probadita, of all the material that you will encounter on the platform. Okay, so that's why I'm not spending too much time on any one thing. I'm kind of moving on a little bit so that you get an idea of what else is happening in the TKT Module 1. So the next thing is going to be, we're going to be looking at the differences between L1 and L2. Okay, what do we mean by L1? What did your students L1? What is your students L1? Spanish, probably, right? Unless maybe they speak an indigenous language. Yeah, maybe they speak Nahuatl. It's possible, isn't it? I mean, that could also be their L1. Yeah, we are in Mexico, one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world, right? And L2 would be, this case, English, right? We could have an L3, which could be, it could be French, right? Some students, some schools teach French as an L3, right? So L2 is normally, in Mexico at least, English, right? Just because of the power and influence of the United States as much as anything. Now, so I'm going to split you into two groups, right? And we're going to do two activities, but you're going to do them separately, right? So one group is going to do the similarities that there are between second, the way that learners learn the first language and the way they learn the second language. What are the similarities? Okay, so one group is going to do this handout. Okay, so you've got to complete these words in the sentences. No, that's the difficult part because maybe you don't know what these mean. So how can you find out? How can you check what interlanguage means? Well, you could Google it, couldn't you? You could Google it, but probably the best way is to use what? What can we use?
The glossary.
The glossary. Yeah, the TKT glossary. So here it is again, in case you need to check. Goes in there. There we are. TKT glossary. Right? So if you need to check the terms, so once you've done that, you're going to work in small groups. Can you think of any other similarities? And what do you think are the differences? So you've got to write them there. Okay. Now, I've sent you to the email these handouts, okay? But you're going to just look at the handout that corresponds to your group. Okay, the other one is differences. So if you're in the differences group, you look at this handout. So what are the differences between L1 and L2 learners? And you have to complete the sentences with one of the words given. Some terms, fossilization. What does that mean? If you don't know, look in the glossary. Okay. So I'm going to give you longer time to do this, maybe 10 minutes. And by the time we've finished, we'll have a break. So I'm going to divide you into two groups. Two breakout rooms. Okay, so Ali Bribieska Alejandra Hernandez, Alicia, Blanca, Claret, Gabby, Hernan, and Nacho. You are in room 1. Okay. And you are similarities. Okay, let me just take a photo of that. Okay, so all of these people okay, if you're one of these people, you are doing similarities, right? Now, if you are Janique, Jose, Laura, Luz, Mabel, Maria Jose, Pablo, or Paulina, okay, you are doing differences. No, that's not right. Sorry. That's wrong. Differences are Janik, Jose, Laura, Rus, Mabel, Maria Jose, Pablo, and Terran. You're doing the differences worksheet. Have you found your worksheets? They're in the Correo Electronico. I just sent it to you 5 minutes ago. Okay, so are you going to work on it together? You can talk in Spanish, don't worry, but the idea is that you complete it in English. Any doubts before we begin? Preguntas. Okay, let's begin then. 10 minutes. Please join your breakout rooms. Nacho, Janique, Gabi, Nacho. Please join your breakout rooms.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Ya nos sacaron de aquí.
Good job, everyone. You worked really well on that. We're going to take a short break. After the break, you're going to compare your answers with someone from another group. So if you had similarities, you're going to tell them what the similarities are. And if you had differences, you're going to tell them what the differences are, okay? I've made a note of who was in each group. So what we're going to do is take a short break of about 15 minutes. When we come back, we'll continue. Okay? I promised you regular breaks. I think it's important to keep our concentration, okay? So you've got 15 minutes. I'd like you back here, back at a las 17:45. A las 4:45 regresamos, okay?
Okay.
¿Qué vamos a hacer aquí hoy?
So let's just check the answers to that one. So, in case you weren't sure, these are the answers. So, similarities between first and second language learners, they both may learn more quickly if they receive praise. They both may make development. Yeah, we might make developmental errors as they learn. They both may undergo a silent period before speaking for the first time. They both go through similar stages of developing their skills and language knowledge. And this is called interlanguage. They both require instruction to develop reading and writing skills, and they both need exposure to the language to acquire it, okay? Lots of exposure. Differences. The age at which second language learning begins is usually later than first language learning. First language learners learn the whole language, whilst second language learning is often incomplete. L1 learners simply need exposure to language to acquire speaking and listening skills, whereas L2 learners usually rely on formal instruction. Second language learners at school usually only interact with classmates and teachers, whereas first language learners receive language input from everyone around them. So like their parents and their friends. There is a risk of fossilization in L2 learning, which almost never happens with L1. Yeah. Usually you're almost always perfect at learning your first language, unless you have maybe some disability. L2 may not have, number 6, second language learners may not have regular contact with native speakers. Second language learners may need to be motivated by a teacher to want to learn. So, how can we best help second language learners? Any ideas? Sorry, not. I didn't mean to say that. I mean to say, which did you think was the best idea of the ones that you saw on the list? Yeah. So we have this list, don't we? Here on our hojita here. How can we best help second language learners? Who thinks motivate through tasks and activities related to their real life interests is number one? What do you think? Do you think that's the best one? Pablo, you say yes?
Yes, I agree.
Why?
Yes, I agree.
It could be use language at a level appropriate for learners, but keep it natural.
Yeah. And what about the second one? Vary activities to take account of the different learning styles in the class. Who thinks that is the number one?
I do.
Why, Janik? Tell us.
Because if you take into consideration the fact that not everyone learns in the same way or at the same pace, you develop strategies or activities that they can follow or be more engaged.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. How about the third one? Give learners positive feedback and praise. Who thinks that is number one?
I want.
I'm sorry.
Blanca, go ahead.
If we are saying that one of the similarities between learning L1 and L2 is important to praise while learning the language, if we're talking about L1, so that may be a very important part for L2 as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because sometimes they get tense about learning a second language, don't they? Yeah, so they need lots of praise.
Yeah.
How about number 4? Balance input and practice so that learners receive exposure to the language forms they need to engage in communicative activities. So you're making sure the students have listening and reading, but they're also having speaking and writing. What do you think? Anyone think that that's important, the most important? Okay, maybe you think it's pretty important, but not the most important, right?
Yes, I think it is important, but not the most.
Why not?
Well, the first thing I think is they bueno, lo voy a decir en español, sorry. Yo creo que lo primero es que pierdan el miedo y ya que lo pierdan, entonces sí ya como hacer que lo practiquen. Entonces.
Very good. Yeah. All right. How about 5? Include opportunities for learners to personalize. That is, relate the language they learn to their real life interests and needs. Anyone think that that's number 1? Or?
No, it's important, but it's not the most important to the list.
Okay. How about 6? Encourage learners to continue learning outside the classroom.
Well, we can encourage them to do that. However, there is, I mean, I will say almost no possibilities for them to interact or, interact with the language outside. As you mentioned, I mean, it is interesting to engage them in communicative activities. However, there, I will also say that there is no time in class sometimes to do that. We have a lesson to cover, even if we want to. In my
Uh-huh.
case, I have almost 40 students in every class, so it's almost impossible to do that. So if that's inside school or in the classroom in this case, where they can interact with others, I mean, outside, sometimes they don't have even like a sibling or someone to practice the language with.
Yeah. So it's actually quite difficult for, especially learners of English as a foreign language, because people don't actually use English that much outside the classroom. I think that's irrelevant. But I mean, there are still ways that they can do it, right? Like watching Netflix with the in English with the subtitles on and so on.
I like to say that it is if they are interested in continue their learning, they could watch videos or listen to music or programs, television, and so if they want, they could.
Some students have told me that they have used the app Duolingo. So yeah. I mean, not with people maybe, but with like the network they have.
Yeah, and finally, number 7, use language at a level appropriate for learners, but keep it natural. Nacho, you say something about that?
Yes, I think that, I mean, that's a very good idea, because if you use like a very difficult language with like elementary students, they're not able to like keep up with it. You got to start, or you have to use the vocabulary or the level of the students that you are working with, because you cannot use like a different like even the tenses. Sometimes they don't even know, like when they're little, I mean like in elementary, they don't even know like their tenses like in their mother language. So they could not understand like difficult tenses in English if they don't even know in their own, I mean, mother tongue.
Yeah. Right. Great contributions there, guys. Really good. So I think we can leave this subtopic behind. Those are really good ideas. I agree. It's important to provide a good model, good English model for the students, but you've got to keep it accessible so that the students can actually understand and comprehend what they're listening to or reading, right? So now we're going to focus on some key concepts regarding language skills, all right? Now, the language skills are divided into 4. Does anyone know what they are for language skills? Go on. Go ahead.
Those are reading, speaking, writing, and listening.
Reading, speaking, writing, and listening, yes. And listening. Okay, so within those, we can divide them into receptive skills and productive skills. Which are the receptive?
Listening and reading.
Yeah. Listening and reading. Good. And listening. And the productive skills are writing and speaking.
Speaking.
Yeah, good. Now on the TKT, you'll also see the ways that we can subdivide these big skills into sub-skills. Yeah. So I'm going to give you an activity in which you've got to match some of the terminology. So, for example, So a sub-skill, for example, of reading is reading for gist. Yeah. Or general understanding. And what you're asked to do is either match the term to a definition or match the term to an example. All right. So match to a definition or match to an example. So I'm going to share with you a Google Jamboard like this. Okay. So I mentioned reading or skimming for gist, right? So we've got to match a yellow to a blue. So an example of skimming for gist, or the general idea, is like looking over a book in a bookshop to see if it's worth buying, right? So we pick up the book and we have a quick skim through to see if it's worth buying. So that is skimming for gist. Okay, so I'm going to have you work in groups to do this matching activity. All right, so it's going to be it's going to be a breakout rooms activity again. So how many groups are there? 3. So it's 5 groups. So we need 5 breakout rooms. Okay. Okay, so room 1 is going to be Majo, Mabel, and no, it's not. It's Ale, the 2 Ignacios. Jose and Yannick. Group B is going to be Alejandra, Luz, and Alicia. Room 3, C, is Majo, Mabel, and Blanca. Room 4, it's Claret, Pablo, and Gabby. And the remaining folk will going to be 5, room 5, Hernan, Laura, and Paulina. Okay, so you're just going to match the yellow with the blue. And let me put Laura here. Okay, I'll give you about 5 minutes to see how well you do that. Starting now. Ah, sorry.
Where can we find these notes?
Sorry, that was my mistake. I didn't actually share with you the Jamboard. That was my mistake. Sorry. Here we go. Let's do it again.
Regreso para acá.
So espérame. Okay. My mistake. Okay, so into the chat is the Jamboard. Please click on the Jamboard and give me the thumbs up when you found your slide. Dame el dedo grande, please, to show that you have found it. Yeah?
I found it. but I'm
Yeah.
still here on the main session. I'm not on my break
Okay,
room.
now let's open the breakout rooms, okay? Please go to your breakout room. All right, just quick answer check then. So skimming for gist was the book in the bookshop. Scanning for specific information will be the telephone directory. Reading for detail will be the love letter. Language learning activity would be using the text to focus on grammar. Cohesion is the links. Yeah, they connect clauses, they connect sentences, these words but, and because. Schemata is knowledge of the world. Also, we often hear the term background knowledge. Background knowledge. Huh? Coherence is connections, logical connections. Extensive reading, whole book, and genre is different types of texts. Good. Now, these terms, knowing these terms is going to help you with the reading that you're going to do. Okay, now you're going to do a skim reading of a text in about 2 minutes. Sure, I'll be generous, 2.5 minutes, okay? And I'm going to time you with this. So you only have like 2.3 minutes, 2.5. So that's 30 seconds, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So you're going to be strictly timed. So you have to read quite quickly. All right. Now, the reading is all about receptive skills. What are the receptive skills?
Listening and reading.
Listening and reading, yeah. Okay. It's a slightly academic text, yeah. And it's typical of the kind of text that you might encounter while you're preparing for the TKT exam. But so we're doing it a bit like a classroom activity for developing gist reading skills. So you've got to match the paragraph heading with the paragraph, because the paragraph heading provides a summary really of each paragraph. All right, so how many paragraphs are there? How many paragraphs can you see here? A, B, C, D.
4.
4 paragraphs, yeah. So you've got 4. But here's the tricky part, because there are actually 5 headings. So there's one that you do not need. So that's making it a bit tricky for you. Okay. So after the 2.5 minutes are done, I'll put you back in the breakout rooms and you can compare your answers. Okay. So here is the reading for gist. Please click on. And I'll send you. No, I'll put the timer on now. So you've got 2.5 minutes to read it and choose the right heading for each paragraph. Networking. 30 seconds left.
Done.
All right, time's up. Stop reading, please. Okay, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with another partner, so you've got to compare your answers. All right. I'll give you just a couple of minutes to do that. Please go into your breakout rooms. That was quite tricky, wasn't it? Yeah. Because you have to do
Kind
it
of.
quick. You have to do it quickly, and there are quite a lot of headings. So, can you please submit your answer? Press
Yes,
submit.
I did.
Yeah, and let's check. See how many people got it right.
I already did.
Yeah, excellent.
How how can I see my answers?
Well, let's hear the answers. Let's have a look. So, most people said language skills. That's right. That's what it's about. The main topic, right? The main topic in the paragraph is A. Yeah? It's like the topic sentence is usually the first sentence, and it gives us what the topic is about. So the answer is A. B is yes, the nature of text is correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what is a text? That's the question now. And it's B, it's the green one. Yeah. Paragraph C is text types and subskills is correct. Yeah. And D is, it's not tips for teachers, it's lessons. It's all about the types of lessons that we can use, how we develop skills in our lessons, receptive skills lessons there. So the answer is the blue one. Good job, mostly right. Okay, so there we developed our gist reading, our skimming skills. Let's now go for detail. So I'd like you to read again and put your answers into the space. Yeah. Okay. So second reading, you've got a few more minutes to do this because you need to write a bit of a detailed answer. How many language skills are there in English? How are they divided? What are the main receptive subskills? What are the main differences between the 3 stages in a receptive skills lesson? Why are receptive skills important on a teacher training course? Now, you can try and write in English if you wish, but I will accept answers in Spanish. All right. The main thing is that you show your understanding. All right. So I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes for this. Questions are not really that difficult, so I'm not going to give you too much time. See how you do. Please click on. Put the timer. See how many you can answer in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Starting now. Remember, you've got to write your answer in the space.
I'm sorry, I lost connection. What are we doing?
Give me a second. I'll give you the. Is that Nacho Martinez or Nacho Varela?
I mean, I'm the same one, but the thing is that my other computer free stop, so
Don't worry.
I got in another one.
Just give me a second. Okay, we're doing the reading for detail, Nacho. So I'll send it you
Okay.
directly. Yeah, there you go. You don't have much time left, but don't worry, you can note down the answers when you're in a group. All right, so like last time, I'm going to ask you to compare your answers. This time I'll give you a bit more time because the answers are a bit more detailed. So please go into your breakout rooms, compare your answers together. Were they the same? Please go to your breakout rooms, compare your answers. All right. That was a bit tricky, wasn't it? If you don't know much about receptive skills and sub-skills. Let's press submit.
Acotar los textos.
Press submit and let's check check our answers. All right, so how many language skills are there? Yes. There's actually 4, right? But they're divided into 2, aren't they? So receptive and productive, and each has got 2. Receptive, listening and reading, productive, writing and speaking. Does that make sense? Any doubts so far?
No, okay, teacher.
Okay, so what are the main receptive sub-skills? Well, the first one is reading for gist or listening for gist, right? Which is general understanding. Then we have listening or reading for specific information. Like when we listen out for keywords, or if we're looking at a train timetable, we want to see what time the train for Toluca is leaving, right? For detail, that's like the love letter, we're reading every word. Extensive is like we're reading for pleasure or we're listening to an audiobook, right? That's extensive. Intensive reading is like where we're reading to study the language in the text, right? Because maybe we have a dialogue or a short text, and we want to look at the examples of the present perfect in the text. So that's intensive reading. We can also do that for listening. What are the main differences? Yeah, in the 3 stages of the receptive skills lesson, they're called pre, while, and post. And the pre is like an introduction. Very good, yeah. The second one aims to develop different reading skills. And the last one is like, gives the students an opportunity to respond to the text. Yeah. And why are they important? Because they help us to develop language skills and teach grammar and lexis, right? It's like the basis. Before we can even begin to teach grammar and vocabulary, we need to use texts. We need to be able to help the students understand and process a text, right? Whether it's reading or it's an audio, right? Those are both types of texts. Does that make sense? Any doubts? Okay, well, if you'd like a copy of this text, I can put it onto the platform. It will help you. But many of these concepts you will encounter on the when you're doing the exercises in the Neo platform. Okay, we're going to do one more activity related to writing and speaking. Okay, and this is, what is the difference between writing and speaking? You've got to identify the differences. Okay? It's a quick activity, won't take you long. And it's going to help us, prepare us for a quiz. After the break, we're going to have a challenging Kahoot quiz all about language, so grammar, everything you know about grammar vocabulary and pronunciation, and also the different language skills. That's going to happen after the break. But before we do that, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the differences between writing and speaking. So I'd like the following people to work together. So Ale, look in the chat, please. Ale, Nacho, Barella, and Jose. That's Ale, not Alejandra. Yeah, Ale Bribieska, Nacho, Barella, and Jose. Okay, you're working on that. Okay, and what you have to do is match the stickies together. Too challenging. So what's the difference between writing and speaking? So writing is usually quite well organized. Sentences follow each other in logical sequences and are joined to previous or following sentences. Whereas spoken language, the orange, contains interruptions, hesitations, repetitions, frequent changes of topic. Yeah, that's why speaking can be difficult to follow. Yeah, if you're not a native speaker, right? I'm sure you've all had that sensation when listening to native speakers of English. Now, so that's group A. Group B is Alejandra, Alicia, and Luz. Group C is Blanca, Mabel, and Majo. Just making sure we're not missing anyone. Yeah. Don't want to miss anyone. Group D is Claret, Gabby, Pablo, and Juan. I think. No, I'll have Juan in group F. Group E, Laura, Hernan, Carolina, and Juan. And that's it. So I'll open the rooms. And I'll give you about 5 minutes to do it. It won't take you long. All right, let's have a quick answer check, then we can go for our second break of the night. And then after the break, we'll have our Kahoot challenge. All right, so has very little or no visual support. That's writing, and its body language is used to support communication. Gestures, facial expressions are letters, sentences, and punctuation joined together. That would be that one, I think. Exact vocabulary, general vocabulary. Notice the contrast. When we're writing, we've got more time to think about what we're writing, and it tends to get more complex. Whereas when we're speaking, we tend to go for the simpler way of doing things.
However, when you're like writing a text and you're your ideas, then you forget them because your mind speaks faster than your hands can write.
Possibly, yeah, but generally it's when we've got more time to think about it, we tend to get more complex. But yeah, I mean, in some contexts, like if you're texting on WhatsApp, it's more like speaking, isn't it? You know, because it's more spontaneous.
Has no consist of letters.
I think it's so usually quite well organized. Sentences follow each other in logical sequences, whereas speaking contains interruptions, hesitations. It's more like jumping around, isn't it? Whereas writing is more linear, right? So that is the contrast there. Speaking contains interruptions, hesitations, and so on. So punctuation and capital letters show sentences, but when you're speaking, we use sentences through stress and intonation. That indicates where one sentence ends and another sentence begins in speaking. Any queries or doubts? This is going to help you a little bit with our quiz after the break. Right. So now you've got another 15 minutes break. Please go to make use of the bathroom or go to the kitchen and make yourself a cup of tea. And we'll be back at 17:30. Sorry, 19:30 for the last part of today's session.
Okay.
See you shortly.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be back.
Consonant, yes. Fricative is one type of consonant. Right? But this is a more general definition. So you could be excused for the blue one. Study of sounds in a language or languages. Is indeed phonology. Phonics is more a method of teaching reading using sounds. So think of the ology. Right? It's a study like geology, phonology, the study of sounds. Oh, I'm in the lead. Primary stress in the word pronunciation is in what syllables? So count the number of syllables. Pronunciation. 5. Where's the main stress? The primary stress. It's indeed the 4th. Good. Most of us got that right. Say it. Pronunciation. So it's the 4th syllable. Well done, Nacho. Pronouncing part of a word or part of a sentence louder than the other parts. That's right. It's either, yeah, it's stress, sentence stress or word stress. Part of a word that usually contains a vowel sound. Yeah, syllable. You can usually identify the number of syllables in a word if you count the number of vowels in there. Sound in which the air is not blocked by the tongue. Well, to listen in order to understand most of what is said, like general understanding. Ah. Yes, listen for detail. It's not general understanding, is it? It's most of what is said. A movement of parts of the body which is used to communicate an idea or feeling. Yeah, it's gesture. Yeah, facial expression will be just one part of the body, but this can be any part, from the face to the feet. Something that the Italians are good at, gesture. Well done, Ignacio. Written or spoken texts which a first language speaker might read or listen to. Yeah, it's actually authentic material. And in some lessons, we can try to bring authentic material into the classroom to give students that practice of dealing with authentic material. Well done, Ale. 9 in a row. Listen in order to understand the general meaning without paying attention to details. Yeah, just showing how you feel by using your face. Ah, it's also gesture. Oh. Hmm. Two-way communication between listener, speaker, or reader and text. Indeed, interaction. Repeat something using clearer words or say something in a clearer way. Right? Paraphrase is to say it in a different way. Oops. It is indeed paraphrase. Speaking, then allowing another person to speak in reply. This is a good speaking skill to develop with children. Sometimes they don't realize it's important to give their partner the chance to listen and then reply. Speak at a natural speed without stopping, repeating, or self-correcting. It is indeed fluency, sometimes contrasted with accuracy. Understanding something which is written or spoken. It's comprehension. Spoken language or written language in text. Yeah, this could be a bit confusing for Spanish speakers because it's normally we would often use the word in Spanish, we use discurso to talk about giving a speech, right? El discurso del presidente. Careful with that one. Pablo in the lead, well done. And ideas fit together clearly and smoothly, and so are logical and make sense. We looked at this earlier. It's coherence. Very good, everybody. The way that spoken or written texts are joined together with grammar and lexis. There's cohesion. And we can use words like and, but, because, or we can use nouns, which is the lexis, or pronouns. Book where the language has been made easier for learners. It's graded reader. Yeah, not easy reader. We can use those types of books with children. Like you can get simplified versions of Sherlock Holmes and so on. Piece of writing that is not yet finished and may be changed. Yeah, in Spanish you would say borrador, wouldn't you? Right? Primer borrador, draft. Done, Ale. Good score there. Almost finished. Part of a text which is removed from an original longer text. It's an extract. Good job. "38. Clear example of the target language for learners to repeat, write down, or save as a record. It's important to have accurate when you're doing a presentation of language, it's important to have accurate natural models. Well done, Nacho. Looks like you could be in the lead. Piece of writing that learners produce after the teacher helped them to prepare for it. It's guided. Final question. The way in which a text is organized and presented on a page. Layout. Yeah. Wow. You can see that there's lots of terminology in Module 1, isn't there? Yeah, it's like remembering a lot of vocabulary. That's it. Well done, Nacho. Followed by Ale, Majo, and Pablo. So, with all of this terminology, you have to remember what I do. How can you possibly remember all of this for the TKT exam? Any ideas? Any ideas for how you can possibly remember all of this terminology for when you have to do the exam?
Dictation, reading.
Dictation, reading, yeah, recycling it. But I don't know about you though, but I sometimes find little flashcards can be useful, where you have the term on one side and then you turn it over and you've got the definition or example on the other. So maybe when you're sitting on the bus, wherever, yeah, or you're at the dentist's and you have some free time, you can look through your cards. Yeah, you could print out the TKT glossary and maybe cut out the definitions and stick them on the flashcards. Yeah, consider that. It's one of the biggest challenges, I think, is trying to remember all of that terminology. A bit scary, isn't it?
The quiz that we just did is like an example of the test.
Well, all of these are, that comes directly, it's taken directly from the TKT glossary. Yeah, and you will find that all of those terms, almost all of those terms in some way will be on the exam. I guarantee it. Yeah, because they've been chosen. All right. So now we can, in the last hour, we can focus a bit on part 2 of module 1. It's a slightly different focus. It's all about how to some of the concepts behind language learning and teaching. Okay, so we're going to look at some presentation techniques and introductory activities. Let's start with a little crucigrama, which is again is a bit like a quiz. Hernan, could you read number 1 across? What is the clue here? number 1 across. And I sent you this handout in the email. So look in your email and you've got a copy of this. Huh? It says presentation techniques handout for part 3. This is part 3. And there's the crucigrama crossword. So, what's the first word? You're probably not going to get it, so I'm going to help you. So it's Hernan. Can you read the clue first of all?
I am
Number 1, 1 across.
hacer preguntas o utilizar otras técnicas para comprobar los estudiantes entendiendo una nueva estructura o elementos del léxico, 2 palabras.
Ah, very good traducción. Good. So the word begins with C. And let me give you another clue.
Comprehension.
And it's 2 words effectively. Both begin with C.
Concepts check.
Very good, Paulina. Very impressed. Concepts check. Yeah. So this is part of presentation of language. We check the students understand the meaning. Concept check. Okay. How about Juan? Can you help read? Can you just read the clue for number 3? 3 across. What?
To introduce new language, usually by focusing on it formally.
Yes. Can anyone guess what that might be?
Can you give us the first letter?
See if I know it.
Present.
Could be your present. P. Could be, couldn't it? Yeah. Present. What about number 6? Alicia, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, to tell students what language means and how it is used.
Will it be explained?
Could be, couldn't it? Yeah, it makes sense. Explain. So number 1 down. Long word. Put new language into a situation to show what it means. Begins with C. There's obviously a vowel here between the C and the N.
Contextualization.
Very good. You guys are sharp.
I think it's contextualize.
Yeah.
Contextualize.
Lies. That's right. Excellent. To get students to repeat words or phrases. It begins with a D.
It's the second one. Don't, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
that's the
yes,
one.
yes, you're right. Sorry. Yeah.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Drill. It is drill. Did you hear me?
Yeah. It can't be,
sorry.
can it? Oh, yes. Number 2. Yes, you're right. It is. It's drill. Yeah. Apologies. Drill. Long day. Drill. Use body movements to convey meaning without using words.
Mime.
Yeah, we sometimes see them on the street, don't we? Mimes. People doing mimes. Yeah. Number 5. Ask specially designed questions or give clues to get students to give information or an opinion. Begins with E.
Elicit.
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 Yeah. Listen. Right. So these are keywords when we're presenting language. Terms that we need to employ. Okay, so next. Question is, what reasons are there for doing introductory activities such as warmers, icebreakers, and lead-ins? And what introductory activities to start a lesson with do you know about? So I'm going to give you these questions on I'm going to post them into the chat here. And I'd like you to discuss briefly, a few minutes, with the partner, these questions. Put that on the screen as well. In fact, why don't we just do this together in the full plenary? Can you think of any reasons for doing introductory activities such as warmers, icebreakers, and leaders? And a lead-in, sorry.
It might be
Yes.
Blanco, you go first, yes.
exactly as the question said, it might be as an icebreaker. It might be to
So what is an
welcome.
icebreaker? Yes.
It might be like a welcome students, to change the chip from Spanish to English, to set up the context for the class.
Set up context. Oh, yes, get them used to using English, right?
Exactly.
And you said something about setting up the context?
Yes, I said that that may be a good opportunity to set up the context of the topic or the objective of the class. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, any those are good ideas. Anything to add to those?
Sometimes as well, so in order to ask for, or in this case, to know what students know about the topic we're about to study.
So it's to see or elicit, right?
The previous knowledge of the students.
Yeah. Activate previous knowledge. Students. Learners. Good one. So, can you think of any introductory activities to start a lesson?
Brainstorms.
Brainstorm.
Yeah. That's a very good example. Like what we're trying to do now is a brainstorm, isn't it?
It could be direct questions.
Yeah. Or discussion questions, perhaps?
Games. Potato hot.
Yeah, like some sort of game. So potato what? Hot potato.
Hot potato.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Maybe the earthquake game.
Can you tell us what was the earthquake game?
Oh, you said it is an earthquake who has oh no, it is an earthquake and you have to stand up the person who has black shoes or something like that.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. Yeah. Well, I think those are good ideas, guys, and that leads us to our next activity. Now, it's on the handout that I've sent you by email, but I've also put it on a Jamboard so we can make it a bit more interactive. Right, I'm going to stop this for a second and pull up the Jamboard. Right, so let's have you working in different groups now, so you not the same people the whole time. So group A, let's have Ali. Yeah. Who's HP Pavilion? ¿Quién es HP Pavilion? No sabemos. Okay. Sancho. Ah. Okay. What you're going to do is decide whether these activities are icebreakers, lead-ins, or warmers. Okay, so you've got 6 activities here, you see? You've got to read about the activities and you've got to decide whether they're icebreakers, lead-ins, or warmers. Now, if you're not sure, check in the glossary. You'll be able to find them. Okay, and then once you've identified them, I want you to write on here on the green post-its why you use the activity. Okay, so think of a justification for using the activity, right? So that's Ale, Blanca, and Nacho. You're going on Group A. Group B is going to be Alejandra. Mr. Archipe. William. And Pablo. C. Alicia. None. One. Oops. Group D. Blanca. No, Blanca's already got them.
Yes, teacher. I'm here.
Let's have Laura, Majo, Paulina, and Mabel. Yeah, I think that's everyone, right? Okay, so now I'm going to give you the link. Presentation techniques coming into the chat, so you can identify the activities according to whether you think they're lead-ins or icebreakers. Maybe I ought to give you a quick definition of what an icebreaker is. So, an icebreaker is an introductory speaking activity that a teacher uses at the start of a new course. Okay, I'm taking this directly from the glossary. A lead-in is the activity or activities used to prepare learners to work on a text, topic, or task. You can see that in the chat, yeah? Warm-up. It's an activity that involves movement. All right. Get working. I'm going to put you into your breakout rooms now. You can start working on it now. Jose, I'm putting you in group C with Alicia, Anand, and Juan. Okay, let's open the rooms. Please go to your room. I've got another half an hour to go. It's a long session. I really make you suffer then. Yeah. Guys, it can be a good idea to screen share. Help me to work together. All right. Now I'm going to give you the answers as Cambridge present the answers. See if you agree with the answers, and we'll compare with the actual definitions. So let's get the definitions again. Put them on the whiteboard. Nice. So those, you can take a screenshot of that if you wish. And then I'll put the answers on the board. So here are the answers coming up now. So number one was an icebreaker. Students getting to know each other, possibly at the beginning of a course. What is the rationale for doing it?
Warmer.
And then number
Entonces,
two
¿qué?
is a warmer.
Pinche traductor, ¿onta?
Floyd.
Romperlo ya los estudiantes conocen entre sí, más cálido para aumentar los niveles de energía para recargar la casa. Introduction es para permitir que los estudiantes traigan los suyos. Experiencia con un tema para romper hielos los estudiantes. Y
Yeah, that's number 3 is the lead in. Number
I have a
4.
quick comment before we go
Yeah.
on to number 1, according to the definition, wouldn't it be like a warmer since it's like with movement?
That's what I thought, and I put it in the warmer.
Okay, but think about when you would do this activity. Students stand in a circle. Teacher throws a ball to a student. He then introduces himself, says his favorite game or activity. When would you do this? Usually right at the beginning of a course, right? Or right at the beginning of a term, so that they introduce each other. Okay, probably you'd only do it maybe once, or I mean, maybe you could repeat it halfway through the term so that people.
Yes, that makes sense. So that might have been a tricky one there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with Majo.
And look at number 4. Number 4 is also an icebreaker, they say. It's students getting to know each other because they're saying something about himself or herself. My favorite color is blue. What's your favorite color?
I got it right, that one.
5 is the warmer. Sort of creating a buzz, trying to get the students to have fun. And 6 is a lead in because it's like an introduction to a topic, isn't it? News stories that they've read. So maybe they're going to read stories, news stories, like it's a reading lesson. Or maybe they're going to read a short text and then look at it examine it for language. Use past tenses. So that's a lead in. Tricky those, aren't they? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I only get 3.
We've got about 10 to 15 minutes left, and there's one more activity in this presentation techniques handout. So we might as well do it, because it'd be interesting to see, what do you know about these different like methodologies? Do you know about PPP? Do you know about task-based learning? Do you know about total physical response? Are those in any way familiar to you? Because these are terms also that come up on the TKT. We'll do this very quickly and then we're just about finished for the night.
Did we also get that in our email?
Yeah, it's in the email. It's called Presentations Techniques Handout. It's a PDF. It's on the 3rd page. So, Majo, could you read the first one? A way of teaching new language?
Yes. A way of teaching new language in which the teacher presents the language, gets students to practice in exercises or other controlled practice activities, and then ask students to use or produce the same language in communicative and less controlled way.
Ah. What do you think that might mean? Any idea?
A
Could
guided
be
discovery?
Ah, Alicia, you went
Oh,
first. Go
sorry.
on. You were
Sorry.
fastest. Raise your
Oh,
hand if you think.
yeah, sorry. I think that guided discovery.
No.
Would that be PPP?
That's PPP. Yeah. Keywords: present, practice,
Present, practice, and produce.
produce. Yeah. Good job, Nacho. Could you read number 2, please?
Okay. A way of teaching in which the teacher gives the students meaningful tasks to do. After this, the teacher may ask students to think about the language they have used when doing the tasks. But the main focus for students is on the task itself.
Yeah.
That could be letter E, task-based learning,
That's good. Yeah.
TBL.
Yeah. Totally right. Blanca, can you help us with 3?
Sure. A way of teaching in which a teacher presents language items as instructions and the students have to do exactly what the teacher tells them. Example, open the window, stand up. This method is good for beginners when they start to learn a new language, as they have a silent period and can make fast progress. Could that be TPR?
That's TPR. Yeah. Total physical response.
Yeah.
Good. Jose, can you help us with number 4?
Okay. A way of teaching in which a teacher provides examples of the target language and then guides the students to work out the language rules for themselves.
Yeah. Can you guess what that is? Out of the any guesses?
Would that be guided discovery?
Guided discovery, yeah. Mabel, can you help us with number 5? Can you read it? Someone read it for us, number 5. I'll read it,
I
shall
can do it.
Go on. Go ahead.
A way of teaching in which the teacher asks students to do a task to see how well they know a certain piece of language. The teacher then presents the new language to the students. Then, in the final stage, asks the students to do another task using the new language correctly. This way of approaching teaching target language can be helpful if the teacher thinks the students may already know some of the target language.
Any ideas?
Lexical approach.
No.
Lexical approach.
No.
Could that be teach, test?
Yes, that's right. Test, teach, test. Yeah, it's quite a good one, that one. And number 6, let me read this. A way of teaching in which students study grammar and translate words into their own language. They do not practice communication, and there is little focus on speaking. A teacher presents a grammar rule and vocabulary lists, and then students translate a written text from their own language into the second language. It's considered quite old-fashioned, but
That's grammar.
university, yeah, I mean, universities still use it. So it's grammar translation. And then finally, it's a way of teaching language that focuses on lexical items or chunks, such as words, multi-word units, collocations, fixed expressions, rather than grammatical structures. That must be
Lexical approach.
lexical approach. Are you
Lexical.
familiar with any of these?
The TPR.
TPR, good. Yeah.
The grammar
Excellent.
translation also.
Grammar translation. Fantastic. Well, let's switch back to our, we're just about finished. So not long to the end. I can see most of you have checked in. It's brilliant. So you can get started on your asynchronous activities. Do the introduction to the course, all of this, have a look at this, and then you can get working on background to language learning. Do as much as you can. And Saturday we will start on module 2's work. Now, today's session recordings, I will download them and I will put them here. Okay. So you can review them if you wish. And that's just about it.
So let me see if I got this right. On the meanwhile, while we meet again, we can do the activities on the platform.
That's the idea, yeah. I mean, this is actually the most of the work is actually done on the platform. You know, the live sessions are really to orientate you, give you ideas and so on. Yeah? But you're going to go into greater depth into the platform.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Andrew,
Nacho.
yeah,
Thank you.
can you check if I have already logged in, please?
Yeah, sure thing.
Because I wasn't able to see.
Nacho Varela. Yeah, you're there.
Okay, thanks.
Right. Okay. Have fun with the asynchronous.
Night.
Night night. Buenas noches. Que descansen.
Bye.
Okay.
Buenas
Good night.
noches. Bye.
A lot.
Thanks a lot. See you
Night.
next session.
Bye
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
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 Bye.